Ladies and gentlemen, John Lithgow.
The National Book Award for Nonfiction will be presented by Alice Kaplan. Alice's newest book, Dreaming in French, The Paris Years of Jacqueline Bouvier Kennedy, Susan Sontag, and Angela Davis, will be published this March. She is the author of 5 previous works of nonfiction, including French Lessons, a National Book Critics Circle Award finalist, and The Collaborator, winner of the Los Angeles Times Book Prize, and finalist for both the National Book Critics Circle Award and the National Book Award. She is former Guggenheim Fellow and member of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Alice Kaplan. Alice.
Good evening. I would like to thank the members of the nonfiction panel, Yunta Huang, Jill Lepore, and Barbara Savage, for the pleasure of reading together. Imagine a book group with the smartest, most discerning readers in the country. The best books published for the entire year are sent right to your door. Plus, you can show up in your slippers because all the meetings, except the last one, take place on the phone. Nonfiction makes a pact with the truth, but only art distinguishes it from mere information. Our panel was interested in the Janus face of nonfiction, its creative side and its rigor, its conscientious relation to sources, and its formal inventions. We started with a list of criteria. A work of lasting value, though that was a wager, impossible to know. A beautifully made narrative, a compelling book to read. An original work, inventive in content or genre. We looked for boldness. We were also on the lookout for heroic qualities, for books that have the potential to overturn received ideas, to change the national conversation. Finally, we looked for quality in research. We looked for the signs of a quest, of true discovery. We found what we were looking for: 5 creative works that invigorate the territory of nonfiction as they explore its boundaries. Each of these books is compelling to read. Each of them makes a world come alive. Finally, I am sure that we have the distinction of having selected among our finalists the only book in the entire history of the National Book Awards that actually glows in the dark. Our nominees are Deborah Baker, The Convert, A Tale of Exile and Extremism, published by Grey Wolf Press. Mary Gabriel, Love and Capital, Karl and Jenny Marx and the Birth of a Revolution, published by Little Brown and Company. Stephen Greenblatt, The Swerve, How the World Became Modern, published by W.W. Norton and Company. Manning Marable, Malcolm X, A Life of Reinvention, published by the Viking Press, an imprint of Penguin Group USA. And Lauren Redness, Radioactive, Marie and Pierre Curie, A Tale of Love and Fallout, published by It Books, an imprint of HarperCollins Publishers. This year's National Award for Nonfiction goes to Stephen Greenblatt, The Swerve, How the World Became Modern.
Well, I find myself fighting back tears, and not only because but partly because I'm so intimidated by the acceptance speech I just heard before me. I'm tremendously honored and deeply moved. My book is about the power of books to cross boundaries, to speak to you impossibly across space and time and distance, to have someone long dead seem to be in the room with you and speaking in your ear and giving you words of comfort or fear or longing. My book is about what the magic of the written word is, and about the strangeness of a poem that was written 2,000 years ago, a great poem and a difficult poem, to think of John Ashbery's words, disappearing for 1,000 years and then coming back. So in the first instance, I want, strangely, to thank the poet Lucretius, 2,000 years ago, great, deep, solitary poet, and the strange, marvelous Italian book hunter, bureaucrat and book hunter, Poggio Bracciolini, who brought it back in 1417 and returned it to the world. And that conjunction, for my purposes tonight, is a particularly fortuitous one, because a poem is a text written by an individual, a strange, in this case, solitary individual, but a book is something that was collectively done, that required scribes and editors and book hunters and collaborators. And that was true then, and in a much more modest way, but one that I feel the force of is true for me. So I want to thank a group of people who've helped create, to turn a text into a book. And those people include my marvelous friend and agent Jill Neeram, my superb and enormously gifted editor Elaine Mason at Norton, and indeed the publishing house of W.W. Norton that had the insane idea that they could sell a book about the discovery of an ancient poem by a Renaissance humanist to more than a handful of people. And then beyond that group of very dear friends and people I want to thank, I also want to acknowledge what is central to the poem that I care about, which is pleasure in the deepest possible way. And for me, that pleasure centers on my 3 wonderful sons, my beautiful granddaughters to whom my book is dedicated, and above all and always to my beloved wife, Rami. Thank you very, very much.
It's a pretty damn good acceptance speech, too. People are good at this.